Okay, we had the new parts come through from the factory. We'll get them on the car ahead of FP1.
Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2018 career mode, episode number 51 today for the Austrian Grand Prix in Season 3. And we come into this episode then with two upgrades on the engine, a major and a minor, which is going to skyrocket this engine in the back of this McLaren even further. And you can see on the performance shot there, we take a big stride ahead of Haas and Red Bull there. Haas a measly little pixel ahead of Red Bull. Ferrari stays stagnant, and actually Force India and Renault both look to have a minor upgrade to catch Ferrari, so they might be on the back foot. And then you can see at the bottom, Mercedes stagnate whilst Williams are trying to catch up to Sauber and Toro Rosso. But for us, with full steaming ahead with improving this car, we're really delving into the engine and putting a lot of work into the engine. I think maybe after this episode, looking to the next episode, we might start working towards maybe some upgrades on the aero. We've got some drag reduction updates we can do, or maybe even actual pure downforce, or maybe even the chassis side of things, because I think we're getting to pretty much the end of what we can do at the engine. You can see here clearly we're pretty much only maybe 4 upgrades away from being completely maxed out on the engine department, and 3 of those upgrades are ultimate upgrades, so those are going to take ages of time to actually come in. So we are getting to the end of that kind of part of the car we can even develop, and we will have to look elsewhere. But anyway, going to this, looking forward to it. It is a power circuit, so I'm hoping that engine upgrade, that double engine upgrade, can really help out this weekend to hopefully send us back to the top and hopefully have just a good a Grand Prix as we had at France. Obviously, if you did miss that one, then be sure to go check the one out before you see this one. But it did kind of end in a bit of misery, spoiler alert, for Fernando Alonso. So here's hoping it can be a good one for both us McLaren cars. Let's go into Saturday and see how we do over one lap.
Thank you for joining us once again for today's qualifying session. Sit back, relax, and enjoy what we hope will be a fantastic contest for pole position. So then, Ant, it's another Grand Prix weekend, another exciting qualifying session ahead of us. What are you going to be looking out for over the next few minutes?
The first question is going to be who can avoid making mistakes. There isn't much margin for error in qualifying, and you have to bear in mind that the track conditions may have changed since practice, particularly as we've had a few support races in the meantime. If the brake bias settings, for example, don't take this into account, it's extremely easy to lock up a front wheel and cause a flat spot. Just like that, your lap's ruined and you've wasted a set of tyres to boot.
So into the start of Saturday then in Q1, slightly overcast conditions, and I think the overcast conditions will be staying put the entire weekend. So we're going back to that Season 2 kind of vibes of having the entire race weekend being very gloomy and a bit dull, but no rain is forecast, I don't believe, at least, so you never know, it could crop up last minute as a surprise. But for now, I think we should be getting sunnier and sunnier as we go through qualifying, hopefully. But you can see they're wringing the neck out of this car in Q1 then, and getting to the kind of finding the limits of the car and the track. We go across the line, and it's going to be an easy Q2 there. You can see Alonso tops the session, with Haas also right up there as well, with Grosjean and Magnussen 2 and 3. So like last season, remember Season 2, myself and Magnussen pretty much dominated this entire Austrian Grand Prix. So I think the Haas cars could be a good measure for us, but of course I think relative to us now, Haas are a little bit weaker than they were in Season 2 relative to the entire field when me and Magnussen were driving there. So let's see about that. But now into Q2, trying to do the job, and thankfully for me, found Austria really good actually. The car was feeling stupendous, and so we got into Q3 with literally 1 run. So I've got 2 sets of tyres now to use for Q3, the top 10 shootout there. You can see then Ocon goes fastest in Q2, which has surprised me. So we can't also count out Force India as well. They have made upgrades, Renault as well. But I don't know about you guys, but every time Force India make even a minor upgrade, like we saw on the performance chart, that little incline that they had on the chart only seemed like a minor upgrade. But every time Force India specifically make a minor upgrade, they seem to really exponentially improve in pace. I don't know what it is, but so I can suspect that they might be really good in this top 10 shootout, and maybe for the race as well. But we now go into our first run in Q3 then, a little bit slow into turn 1. On the exit, definitely could have been a bit more aggressive on the curbing there on the left hand side, and also just the entry speed I took into that. But like I said, we have 2 sets of tyres to actually use here in this session, so that's the good thing here. But going deep and wide and losing a heap of time in the hairpin as we go into the end of Sector 1, so definitely have left already a couple of tenths on the table as we go towards the line then for the end of the first final lap, and it really is a horrendous lap then. And like I said, we lost some time in turns 1, and then I definitely lost at least 3 tenths, I'm thinking, into that hairpin up the hill. So we can try and gain that back as we go into our second final lap, so that's the good thing about getting into Q1 and Q2 with only one lap gone. We can actually burn up and afford to make those kind of mistakes, and then we can try and rectify them in our second flying lap there as we go. Getting a heap of time on the top right as we chuck it through the last two corners, then maximum attack at the moment. We're P9 behind Ricciardo, just ahead of Bottas there, so this needs to be a big improvement for us. We go across the line, and it's going to be P4 for us there, just behind Fernando Alonso. And to my surprise, Romain Grosjean and Sebastian Vettel is the man in P2. The Force Indies dropped off massively there. Ocon only P6, Perez down in P9. Very shocking there. And to see Vettel up there in P2 was a big surprise, because you saw on the performance chart, Ferrari did not bring an upgrade for this weekend. They plateaued into this one, so that was a real surprise. And actually, Vettel's done that a few times so far in the last couple of episodes. He's been right up there in terms of one-lap pace in quali when you least expect it there. But Romain Grosjean then, the Haas, clearly still having some speed around Austria, and I can't be too disheartened by my performance. Myself and Alonso pretty equally matched there, P3 and P4. And so here's hoping, though, that like we have done a couple of times before in this season, our race pace can be even better than our qualifying pace, and me and Fernando can both look ahead. Of course, there was the unfortunate demise of Alonso last race, so both of us want to try and do well here. And from the second row, I think we can do. Just need to make sure we get a good getaway against Grosjean and Vettel. Well, let's head into the intro then and see if there's any grid penalties to maybe even help us. Maybe with Vettel or Grosjean, you never know, with the bad luck they've had in the past.
Good afternoon and welcome to Spielberg, and to a circuit that in one form or another has held every Austrian Grand Prix in the championship, except the very first back in 1964. It was at this race that John Watson lost a bet and his beard when he took Team Penske's only F1 victory in 1976. If anything, the stakes are even higher today, with 25 points available for victory and a crucial advantage in the championship fight. The Spielberg circuit then is situated 700 metres above sea level, with just 10 corners making up one of the shortest laps of the season. One time around here is a distance of 2.6 miles, with the best overtaking chances into turn 1 or the tight uphill turn 3. With me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Mercedes. They've had one retirement in the last 5 races. What do you think that says about the reliability of their car?
It's a good statistic for sure, as it demonstrates not only mechanical reliability, but consistency from both drivers as well. These are two of the first boxes you have to tick for any successful season.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Romain Grosjean lines up on pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Alonso, the engineer, Kevin Magnussen, and Ocon, Verstappen, Ricciardo, Bottas, and Kimi Raikkonen, Hülkenberg, Gasly, Charles Leclerc, and Perez, Hartley, Sainz, Lance Stroll, and Marcus Ericsson. Hamilton and Sergei Sirotkin rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
So no grid penalty ahead of us, so it is a straight fight then for me and Alonso if we want to move forward ahead of Sebastian Vettel and Romain Grosjean on pole position today. The strategy-wise, well, it's a default one-stop there, but like we had with last year in Season 2, the two-stop proved to be the faster way if we have the speed around the circuit, which I feel like we do. I think we can find a few extra tenths maybe mid-race if we're really pushing hard. Obviously, last season, we caught up Magnussen on the one-stop pretty damn quickly. It might be a tougher challenge here with Alonso, because I think Alonso's generally a better driver than Magnussen, of course, to maybe catch up. But we'll see. If Alonso does a two-stop then it's a slam dunk, and hopefully we'll see what the others do, and maybe we can jump them or just overtake them on the faster compounder tyre, super soft to the soft tyre. But here we go then to 5 red lights to the Austrian Grand Prix then from P4 on the grid. Very overcast conditions here, but I think it's going to be all dry for the entire race as the 5 red lights are out and we're underway. It's a fantastic start there from Alonso, already up into P2, pressurising Grosjean into turn 1. Vettel real slow into turn 1. It's not only a bad start, just generally going very slow mid-apex, and so we're already side by side with them, or trying to go side by side with them as we go up the hill then into the hairpin. Alonso does the same. Alonso around the outside of Grosjean, myself down the inside of Sebastian Vettel, so a tandem overtake there for me and Alonso. We're up into P3. Alonso still has to finish the job though on Grosjean there. He's got some great straight line speed, the Haas car. car, but Alonso the long way round, and he's got it. He squirts the throttle, he gets ahead into Sector 2, and he's got the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix already. Alonso with a bonkers start there. Great stuff there. And so now it's a 1-3. Can we make it a 1-2 soon enough as we move on to the end of lap 2 then? We've been chasing down Romeo Grosjean, settling into this race. Vettel has already been overtaken by Ocon then behind me. You can see the gap on the minimap is already quite large, so it looks like only me, Grosjean and Alonso really have this kind of pace at the moment on heavy race fuel. And so here we go now, trying to size up a move on Grosjean. Can't quite do it into the hairpin. He blocks us off mid-apex, but we're going to get the traction down. A bit of oversteer for good measure. DRS open though. Hot lap mode engaged. Then over to overtake mode on ERS. Rich mix going the entire time. And here we go. A dive down the inside. Nice big lunge. A little bit of a lock up on the right front tyre, but in the end, it's a pretty damn easy and clean pass for us. And we're up into P2. And it is a 1-2 from McLaren Renault. And so I said I hope me and Alonso could kind of face forward and kind of be a bit faster in the race. And you can see that very clearly. I mean, look how far Alonso already is. And it's only been 3 laps there. He is literally flying. That's kind of the Alonso from Season 2 at the Singapore Grand Prix we're seeing for the very first time in this season, I would say, as we now move on all the way to lap number 9. We're going to be coming in now for our first pit stop onto super soft tyres. Grosjean has already come in 1 lap earlier than us, and Alonso continues on. So just like Magnussen did in Season 2, my teammate carries on and looks like he's going to be trying a 1-stop. So Alonso today is going ultra soft tyres to the soft tyres and going long on that compound tyre. We're making an extra pit stop and going on 2 sets of super soft tyres, but with the pace of our car, I'm not too worried about, anyone else. It's really just me v Alonso, I think, in this race, to be honest. I think it's a real fight of myself and my teammate here once again, just like it was in Season 2 with me and Magnussen. Although saying that, Grosjean has jumped us here with the undercut, but that's only a mere kind of formality of him jumping us here on the undercut. I have uber confidence that I can re-overtake him, especially if he's getting held up with a bit of traffic here of the Williams cars. Grosjean goes down the inside then of Lance Stroll. We'll catch up to Stroll hopefully in a jiffy and overtake him with DRS. And like I said, really it's going to be a case of the question is, can we do what we did in Season 2? Catch back to Alonso on the 2-stop here. Obviously, 1 extra pit stop, and we're going to have to try and negate that time we lose by the time we gain on super soft to the soft tyres. But you saw the entire weekend, it's probably the strongest qualifying I've had the entire weekend in terms of no issues in Q1 or Q2 of having to go twice in this session to make it through. But now closing up to Lance Stroll in Sector 2 at the moment, to my surprise, unable to make an overtake quite there. Didn't have quite the grip I needed to make the overtake in that left-hander, and then to the right-hander, Lance completely brake checks me horrendously into what is usually a near enough flat out corner in qualifying. Go 1 gear down and then pretty much plant the power halfway through the corner. But there, Lance literally slammed on the brakes. We got yellow flags up ahead though as I tried to overtake him around the outside of turn 1. Again, he brake checks me. We go off circuit and there's a Force India that's been spun around there. And meanwhile, we've got Esteban Ocon that's just come out of the pit lane. So that must have been Sergio Perez that's facing the wrong way at turn 1. That's why the yellow flags were out. But his teammate Ocon has just come out of the pit lane then, and he's on a set of ultra soft tyres. So Ocon, I guess the Force India think they have really good tyre wear because he's on 2 sets of ultras then to make this 2-stop work in this race. And so he's on my left-hand side and making a good effort to try and overtake me. He's on the faster compound tyre, of course. We're going to squeeze him out though and keep that position. So very, very close stuff there. So Ocon almost got the overcut on me in that scenario because I got held up so much by Lance Stroll, and now I'm thoroughly pissed off with Lance Stroll. He held me up not once but twice into turns 1 as well. And so here we go now, hot lap mode, overtake mode, rich mix going. This is what I should have done on the previous lap, and here we go now down the inside, and for good measure I swipe across on the racing line, and we're back up the order into now what is P11, and we can try and chase after Romeo Grosjean. But let's have a look then at a replay of that incident. So this is Sergio Perez being overtaken, I think, by the Red Bull car and also the Ferrari there in the background of, I think, Raikkonen, but I think that's Ricciardo around the outside. And, he gets tagged on the left front tyre there. Bit of a racing incident though, because turn 1 is so tight that it's so difficult to take it side by side with 2 cars unless you're both on the same page of we're both going to brake quite a fair bit to make it side by side. And now onto lap 13 into turn 1, there's another car round and sideways in the same kind of way Perez was. It's a Renault car, I think of Carlos Sainz there. And meanwhile, now as we catch up to Grosjean, a whole gaggle of cars, Gasly, Leclerc, Bottas as well. So there's a heap of traffic for both me and Grosjean to contend with. And so now this might help me out to maybe overtake Grosjean a little bit faster than I was intending maybe. But saying that, to my surprise, Pierre Gasly puts up a real good fight there with DRS in a straight line then in the top Toro Rosso Honda, where we go and dive around the outside. Then we have the superior downforce and chassis compared to the Toro Rosso. A little bit of contact made with Grosjean's rear end because we literally dived it that much, but my teammate now is in, so Alonso's in for his one and only pit stop of the afternoon as we finally squeeze that gas lead. But I was very shocked at how much of a fight Pierre put up there mid-corner in Sector 2, so he really wanted it and keep that position, but alas, we have got it, and now Grosjean goes down the inside of Leclerc. We're going to go around the outside of 1, 2, and maybe even 3. Bottas there, and yes, it's a triple overtake then. Round the outside, the second last corner, Grosjean chose incorrectly. He went down the inside of Leclerc, but both Leclerc and Bottas were going to come in for a pit stop, so he literally got boxed in. Like, you can't get more of a definition of boxed in than what Grosjean had just then, and so we're able to make a swooping move on the outside of all 3 of them. But to say that Haskell at the moment has got some decent speed, I suspect maybe Grosjean's on full out attack on Rich Mix and also hot lap mode on the ERS as he tries to make a pop around the outside of the hairpin there as we turn down the ERS a little bit to try and conserve some battery power. But here he comes now. DRS, remember, on this back straight available to him. On the outside, we go defensive to the inside then. Will he have the grip to make it around the outside? We go tight on the apex there. We're going to have to go wide to squeeze him out a little bit. He's got the legs on us there. He's half a car length ahead. We're going to have to go around the outside though, and we do find the grip though. Mid-apex, we've got that, and we'll plant the power on the curbing, on the exit, and we'll keep that position. And now, let's try and push away as our car literally sparks away and has a fireworks show for all the cars behind. But let's try and push on and try and catch up to that Ferrari car of Raikkonen then. I think that's next up as we slide through the second last corner. And now we take a look at a replay then of that Renault, and it looks like it's, oh dear, it's going to be a Renault v Renault incident here, so that's going to be a little bit awkward in the debrief for these guys there. Hulkenberg round the outside and spins round his teammate Carlos Sainz in the same fashion as Perez got spun round by Ricciardo, so that's very unfortunate for the Renault guys. But here we go now, onto lap 15 this is, onto lap 16 I should say, as we cross the line, and we're catching up to Kimi Raikkonen now. And we have a little look on the outside of Kimi, but he does really well to defend into turn 1. Slows me down quite a fair bit though, so on the exit we plant the power as early as we can, a lot earlier than he could there, because he compromised his own racing line effectively by defending so hard. We open DRS, we swipe across for good measure to just make the point that we were a little bit cross about how much he slowed us up, and we're now up into P3. P2 is Nico Hulkenberg. He will eventually come in for his very first pit stop of the afternoon, and then it will just be me and Fernando Alonso as we move on to lap 17. Here he comes then. The yellow dot on the minimap will be coming in. I'm a little bit upset because I wanted to overtake Hulkenberg on track. You guys know how much I like a actual on-track overtake compared to a strategy overtake, but there we go. And so it's a 1-2 for McLaren once again. Alonso though on that 1 stop, I am on the 2 stop, so now's the time where we push very hard to try and negate some of that time we're going to effectively lose by making that second pit stop here. But away from my situation, whilst I'm pushing flat out, there's some racing going on behind me. Sebastian Vettel closing up on Grosjean there, so we haven't really seen too much of Vettel since we overtook him, but he's still there, and the Ferraris in general, both him and Raikkonen, actually surprisingly have a lot more pace than I thought they would do, as Vettel actually overtakes Grosjean there, fair and square on soft tyres, squeeze him out actually there, as Vettel swipes across him there, so it's not just me being aggressive this afternoon. And ahead of them is Raikkonen trying to chase after Esteban Ocon, so both Ferraris, like I said, despite them not upgrading, like they plateaued on the performance chart line, despite that, they're actually looking a lot better than they did on in the last race, which is very, very odd. But there you go. Maybe the Ferrari car just suits the Austrian Grand Prix a lot more. But yeah, Vettel ahead of Grosjean then. Raikkonen still chasing after. Although, oh no, I spoke too soon. I jinxed it. I did the commentator's curse, and Vettel has just spontaneously retired out of the Grand Prix with a mechanical failure, and the full safety car has been called out with Vettel out of the Grand Prix in a dangerous position. And that is so gutting and typical though. I would obviously give the commentator's curse there. And so we're going to box in this lap to make a free pit stop. I was going to come in anyway on lap 22. So literally Vettel has done me a solid. Pitch perfect time. But oh my god, no. Look at this. Kimi Raikkonen has been disqualified. So it's a double 0 points, I would say DNF for Ferrari, but it's a 1 DNF and 1 disqualification for Ferrari. What a absolute shocking race then for the Scuderia. It was looking so great. They were both in the top 6, and now both of them not going to score any points. Vettel parked up, Kimi for some reason has been disqualified, and out of all that, I get a free pit stop. So I've gained the most out of this, because like I said, I was about to say, I was already going to pit on lap 22. I pit 1 lap earlier, but I also have 3 laps of coasting under the safety car, and also, as we know, a safety car pit stop is pretty much near enough like a free one, because you're all going to bunch up. So I'm going to be behind Romain Grosjean at the restart, but I'm going to be right up his rear end, as well as Alonso. But this is why then Raikkonen was disqualified out of this race. He's crashed into the safety car on the exit of the pit lane, no less. So you've also got the Force India coming out. Ocon goes past, and Kimi just slowly hits the safety car twice there for good measure, and that's what disqualifies him. So, well, I can't really argue that. It's his own fault for hitting the safety car, and you are going to get disqualified if you do that. So now we're on the restart then of the safety car. You can see some blue flag cars here. My tyre's not quite up to temperature, and so immediately Ocon is actually right on the back of me, to my surprise. I thought I was going to pressurise Grosjean, not defend from Ocon, but it's kind of the case of every single time against AI, you're always going to get a shocking start on the safety car when it goes green, because you just can't get the tyre temperatures up no matter what you really do, in my opinion. And so Ocon now is having another look, but we're going to close up on Grosjean there. Alonso is only 2 cars ahead of us then. You've got 2 cars of traffic, and then it's basically me v Alonso once again, but we first need to get past Grosjean to actually make that move stick, and then we're going to go. But Alonso has not pit under the safety car. He's maintained his 1 stop, so that's a little bit weird from Alonso. He probably should have pit under the safety car, but he's not, so he's still on those worn soft tyres, I believe, unless he did the pit stop and I just didn't see it on the replays, but I don't think he did. And so now we're being held up massively by Grosjean here. He's very slow into sector 2 for some reason, even slower than the Williams car was, enough so that Ocon now is down my inside, but Grosjean comes in then as well as Ocon. So for some reason, Ocon and Grosjean have both come in for a pit stop. I don't know exactly why, but there you go. I know Grosjean's come in, Ocon did not. Ocon actually got boxed in by Grosjean on the inside, because Ocon was trying to overtake me, and in doing so, he got held up by Grosjean coming in. And now subsequently, it looks like he's been overtaken by Daniel Ricciardo into turn 1, as now we close up on these two going side by side up ahead. They're going to be both on the blue flag though, but Sorokin and Hartley really give it some. Look at this great battle. We're going to slot right in the middle of them. That's really a lovely little move there. Looked visually very appealing down the inside of both of them. And so now we try and chase after Fernando Alonso, and as I said, he's on soft tyres, worn soft tyres. And so on lap 32, with 4 laps to go in this Grand Prix, we've rapidly caught up to Alonso here. We've got the fresher tyres, we've also got a decent amount of ERS, but not too much there, but we've got some to play with, and we've got rich mix as well. As we close up through the last 2 corners, our car still sparking away there as we swing through the last corner. Really nice picture and shot there of these 2 McLarens lining astern in 1 and 2, but we're gaining and gaining even more, pressurising Alonso into turn 1. He goes a little bit defensive, he goes slow, he snakes a little bit on the exit, so we're going to have DRS here. Remember, the new DRS zone here at Austria. We're going to gain in 8th gear, overtake mode, rich mix. We're going to size up the move, go down the inside, make sure he's in the mirror, and then we're going to simply back off and put it down to none and put it to lean mixture. We're just going to let him know that, Fernando, if I wanted to, I could have easily overtaken you there, mate, and I could have got this race win. But I'm going to be the sportsman that McLaren likes a driver, and I'm going to let him have the win. I'm going to remain in P2 because, let's be honest, he deserved the French Grand Prix win. If it wasn't for his engine failure, he would have categorically won the French Grand Prix. He was a lot faster than me at Paul Ricard. I've been a lot faster than him around Austria, but it's a tick for tat. He had an engine failure, and you know, some of you guys might disagree with me, but that's the kind of person I am. And although I might be very, very aggressive with some of my moves from time to time, when it comes to me showing respect to drivers that I do respect, and I do respect Alonso and my teammate on the other side of the garage here in this scenario in Season 3 of this career mode. It might, you know, you never know, in the future it might change, but right now, at this moment, I do massively respect my teammate. We've not had any incidents, we've not had any kind of really big frosty moments, and I felt really, really bad and gutted that he did not get the win that he deserved at the French Grand Prix. So I'm going to let him go, turn down the engine, but I left a message for him because I went down the inside, half alongside him, sent him a little message that if I wanted to overtake you, I could have done. So just watch out, next time round, next race, I won't be so kind. If I do get a chance, I will overtake him. But for now, he can have the win, and we're going to enjoy just the taste of the champagne and enjoy a 1-2 for McLaren here at the Austrian Grand Prix. Alonso wins that one, and I'm going to go home in a pretty good second place to extend my lead in the championship to Daniel Ricciardo.
Nice work, you did well today. I think the boss will be happy with that one.
McLaren have pulled it off. They've won in spectacular fashion here today. Anthony, what do you think made the difference here?
Without a doubt, the safety car changed everything today. The key to their success was keeping calm and reacting to the situation quickly. We've seen teams in the past throw away wins because they were too hesitant, but here they were decisive, and that's allowed them to take the advantage.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be McLaren picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
So there we have it, McLaren's first 1-2 here in Season 3, and also 2 wins on the trot then. I won the French Grand Prix, he's won the Austrian Grand Prix, so let's see if we can maybe continue a bit of a streak now at the moment, because the car is just getting better and better. But Sergio Perez gets a great 3rd place there, and Ricciardo, I didn't see a lot of him this race, but to be fair, my main championship rival for now got a pretty good P4 to try and recover and limit the damage that he would have had this race if he had finished a little bit lower. So at the moment you can see, although I do extend the championship lead, Ricciardo did some good work to kind of cushion the blow there. Alonso climbs right up into P4 from what was P7 with that 1 win there ahead of both Haas cars. You can see how low the 2 Ferraris are. Ferrari are so low with both their drivers that in the Constructors' title now, Ferrari are just ahead of Sauber then in behind Renault. They are in P6. That is absolutely amazing. It's McLaren, Red Bull, Haas, Force India, Renault. That is quite a lineup, and who would have thought Ferrari and Mercedes would be in the bottom half of the table. Mercedes still staply there in the bottom 3 on points. That's a pretty big deal and a pretty big race for Ferrari there. I think at this point you could say it's pretty safe and sound that I probably will be moving to Ferrari, because I think they're going to want my services to help them the Constructors' title next year. Obviously, if you don't know, if you didn't see the first episode this season, we have the contract in place that I'm on loan to McLaren. I'm still a Ferrari driver. That's why I have a Ferrari logo on my helmet, and I will be a Ferrari driver in the clause if Ferrari don't win the Constructors. And at this rate, I don't think Ferrari are going to win the Constructors, so I'm guaranteed a seat at Ferrari. But who knows, if Ferrari are this bad for most of the season, are they going to want to draft me in earlier? Could we get the call up to Ferrari? Because I'm on loan, I am a Ferrari driver, so they could pull the plug and ask me to come to Ferrari earlier than the end of the season. So if they're going this badly, if they continue this badly, could we see that happening? Who knows? Who knows? But let's go on then to the final interview then with Claire before we round out the episode.
You really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy. Everything went your way today. It looked like you had a really good strategy for the race.
Obviously, it's a very team game today, so I'm going to kind of big up the team and say the team pulled out all the stops.
Things are really heating up between you and your rival, aren't they?
I think, obviously, technically we drew with Sergio Perez, but I want to say it's been a great fight there. It's, been a good show for the fans as well.
You had a close battle today, didn't you?
This one was a bit odd because I never actually raced Sergio Perez on track today, but I'll kind of, alas, go for the showy answer on the left-hand side then.
Do you have any comments about the collisions?
And then this one was about collisions. We had a few out there, I think with Grosjean and even Vettel maybe at the start, but I'm just going to go with no comment then. Not going to kind of risk a rep decrease for anyone or any team there and just go with no comment.
Great. Well, that's everything.
And so then we're going to go to the end of the episode, and confirmation there, I think we are going to be drawing with Sergio Perez. So it's been very rare that I draw my rivalries, but there we go, we've drawn with Sergio Perez, so no one won that rivalry there. And at the moment, I'm just about losing this second rivalry, or this third rivalry actually, with Alonso. Obviously, it's one apiece between me and him, and so I think this one might be a bit more of a closer rivalry session. But now we're going to look on to the R&D then, and we have a decent amount of points to actually spend once again. And like I said, we've already done a lot of stuff on the engine. So this time around, I want to kind of shift my attention maybe onto the aerodynamic side or the chassis side. And in the end, I thought, you know what? Our car, it feels really good in the corners. I don't think we need more downforce necessarily at this point in the season. I think really we're just trying to make this into an overtaking monster in case we ever get in some trouble. And let's reduce the drag then and help the slipstream out. And so we're going to go for an ultimate drag reduction update on the car. And so that's going to come in for the Hungarian Grand Prix, which will be perfect timing because Hungary is a compromise by trying trying to run high aero for most of the lap, but then on the main straight, you need a reduction in drag to actually help you overtake on the main straight. And so that's going to come in perfectly for us there. And so all in all, a pretty damn awesome episode from my perspective. I'm very happy that we got the 1-2. I'm happy that Alonso won because, like I said, I feel like he really deserved it from the French Grand Prix. So I'm very, very happy, and I hope you guys are as well, seeing a great 1-2 for McLaren, a historic 1-2 for McLaren. It's not often we've seen that. I think that's been the first 1-2 for McLaren since, I don't even know. Someone in the comments below, let me know when the last time McLaren got a 1-2, because I think it was pretty much many, many years ago since this Season 3 of Career Mode, because they never got it in Season 2 and 1, and so in real life, I really think it's been multiple years since they last got a 1-2, so there you go. So guys, if you did enjoy that, smash the like button, let me know what you thought in the comments below, and you're around to get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been Alfa, home for today, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.